Hi, I'm Marie Gervasio, and this is Russell Perkins, and we're still standing with Ukraine. And today, we have someone else here that is still standing with Ukraine, and he has been helping, as we have, for quite a few years, and he's going to tell us about how he does what he does, and why he's been doing it for so long as well too. And we've been doing it because we felt the need way back over 3 years ago now to do more than just write a check. Little did we know it was going to involve this much time, this much effort, but also there's a saying about what goes around comes around, and it has come around quite well for me and my artwork, and we've been doing a little bit more than just resting in retirement. Let's just say that. So let me introduce you to Kenneth Glover, and let him tell us a little bit about when your volunteer work began.
Thank you, Marie. Thank you, Russ. Time's passed. It's a little over 3 years now. I mean, it's going longer than that, since February 2022, when the all-out invasion began towards Kyiv. And but people in Ukraine always remind me that it began in 2014 with Crimea.
It did.
So on the morning of that invasion, I had not turned on the news, and Joseph, my partner in this work, he came down from upstairs. He was ready to go to work, and he was bawling his eyes out. It was really traumatic for him when he saw the news that morning. He had been born in Hungary and had escaped from Hungary while it was still under communist control. And he felt very closely, although he knew no one in Ukraine, the struggle that they were entering, and it was a re-traumatization. And we had been planning to go to Ukraine, so we decided in those next few minutes we would continue to make our plan for Ukraine, even though Ukraine was supposed to fall in 3 days. Our trip was months out. And we decided we were going to go. Yeah. And that's where it all began. Yeah.
Oh, that's kind of like us right at the beginning there. And what are some of the ways that you help Ukraine?
Well, we traveled to Ukraine, and we were talking to a friend in Ukraine, a businessman, and I had brought up the idea that, you know, we spend a lot of money going to Ukraine, and would it not be better for us particularly to just not go to Ukraine and just send a check? And our friend Tibor said to us, if you think it's about the money, you're not understanding your role. We have billions of dollars coming in paying for weapons, but the one thing we don't have enough of is psychological help. And he says, that's what you're doing here. You're bringing some money and doing some good, and you're helping people. But people need to see, two Americans particularly, coming back to see them time and time again.
That's kind of like what we found, but being here, Ukrainians locally have really embraced our efforts in helping, and are amazed. People will always ask us, right, about whether we're Ukrainian?
Yeah, the first question we get from people who don't know us when they see us at craft fairs or something is, are you Ukrainian? And we have to say in our New Hampshire accents, no, but...
you have a lot in common with Ukrainians, and you might not even know it. It's fallen off. I thought it would stick to this wool, but it's a little patch, and it's a military patch, and it says in Ukrainian, and if I translate it into English, it translates absolutely to live free or die.
Yes.
And that's going to mean a lot to you here in New Hampshire.
That's what we used to say at the beginning. Lena, the then president of Dobro, the organization we help, she was saying that that's their favorite saying, the New Hampshire motto, live free or die.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As if it was it is actually their choice.
Well, yes, it's
Yeah.
their choice.
Yeah.
The Ukrainians that I've run into have to stop thinking of us. Well, they don't think of us as outsiders, but they'll always thank us for helping, and I feel like the organization we volunteer for, Dobro, has a lot of volunteers who are from Ukraine, and they always make a point to thank us for helping Ukrainians, and I feel like, well, it's my duty. It's every civilized person's duty. You don't have to thank me. I should be thanking you too.
That's how I feel, Russ. People will thank us when we're in Ukraine, or pray over us, etc. Because some of the things we've done have been dangerous. But they're very thankful. But I always chase that up immediately with being very, very thankful for them, because we go for 2 or 3 weeks, and they're there all the time. And there are volunteers that every single day after work, or if they're retired, every day they're in making camouflage netting, or making contributions to the Army, or physically making, what's very impressive to me, is a very, very fine mesh net that catches drones and stops them from exploding, which protecting men and women on the front lines.
That's amazing.
And I thank them because, and a phrase I like to say when I'm speaking to them is that they're faithful unto death, which is biblical, but I've always liked that.
Yeah.
Now, when you're in Ukraine, you also help with other volunteers too, don't you?
Yeah, we do. We are cooperating with a few volunteer groups. One of the volunteer groups has very extensive work. They're making bulletproof vests, materials for the soldiers to wear, camouflage nets, the other nets that stop the drones. But they also go out and they work with adults, from children to adults, in a home called the Crocus Home, and it's for people with Down syndrome. They really don't get too much state funding, and we've been helping with fresh fruit and pizza and treats, and it's ongoing. A group of young people with autism here, some orphanages, and so we get some supplemental nutrition. But Joseph has a particular interest in the orphanages because he spent some time growing up in an orphanage, and he had remarked early on that some of his best memories were few and far between, but it might be a hug from a teacher. I'm not all that huggy, but I can buy pizza. Joseph and I can get pizza. And so the kids will grow up and they'll remember some highlights when they got fresh fruits or bars of chocolate or bags of candy. One particular child got a computer because of a very necessary need, a laptop. I could talk more about that later perhaps. So we're working with volunteers who already have inroads working with the civilian population who had severe needs beforehand. So we work sometimes with the military, and a lot of the time we work with people from cradle to grave, even stopping at geriatric homes to provide a visit, some sung music, and meringues and sweets and things like that, fresh fruit, and a little time with them.
Yeah, that's so important to have some good time, some positive time amongst all this horrible wartime.
Yeah. One thing that comes to mind, I've said to before a few times, not a lot, is sometime in the future, maybe 2085, nobody will remember Joseph or me specifically. We'll be sort of erased by time. But there's going to be a little kid in one of those orphanages who at that time will be very old themselves, and they're just going to remember 2 Americans who came and brought pizza. And organized a few outings, 8-hour-long bus trips where we went to the forest and and had a catered meal for them and games on International Children's Day or a Halloween outing to a petting zoo and other places. And they're going to have those fond memories, and that's how we'll carry on with a vague memory from someone in 2085. We'll have met our purpose.
They call you the pizza people or something?
Yeah, we were in Colomia, and we've been since 2022 trying to figure out what to call ourselves, and we came up with all sorts of ideas, all of them flat, and finally we figured it out. Someone else did. I'm sitting at a park bench trying to have a conversation with a retired soldier, and a man at another bench says, "Oh, you're speaking English. Are you the Americans?" I said, yeah, we're American. Joseph's not here right now. "Oh, you're the Americans who buy pizza for Ukrainian children?" And I went, yeah, we are. So we're known as the Americans who buy pizza. And we've been on TV, and then people local just talk about us, and we're not looking for that. I don't care if I'm on TV, but if someone sees me on TV and they don't get a chance to meet me or see any of the work we're doing, but just hear there's two Americans who haven't forgotten them, that's what people say. We just don't want to be forgotten. So that's why TV is important.
Yeah, that's good. That's what we're trying now with this pretty new YouTube channel, Still Standing with Ukraine. So you might want to hit the subscribe and like button. Yeah.
I will too.
And we will also be doing more in the future with more people who are still standing with Ukraine. And tell me a little bit about this flag up here.
Well, last January we went to Kyiv, and this was presented after we made our trip to the front line. And children have signed this. So we have a small organization, volunteer organization that we know of, and we have supported this organization and the few people involved. They bring material assistance to the front lines. It's very dangerous. And we went out early one morning, had to put our phones on, take it off of tracking and location, and put them in airplane mode. And we drove hours to the Sumy region. We made it through a checkpoint, and we were now 10,000 feet away from the Russian front lines. We were behind the Ukrainian lines. We delivered a van full of goods, etc., to the soldiers that we had collected, and there was more than 24 people backing up this little trip. 24 people had put energy into this, not just us. And it was our van, and we traveled in. We were there for a considerable amount of time, and then we transferred the aid. And then when we left, I might be wrong, but I think we were traveling about 100 miles an hour down a single road that days before had nearly been cut off by the Russians. And I suddenly learned that I'd been doing very well at learning Ukrainian as our driver turned slightly and said in Ukrainian, which I understood, "We're driving so fast so the Russian drones can't catch us." And when we returned from that, this was one of the gifts that they gave us back at the hotel for a dangerous trip. A banner, a Ukrainian flag signed by children at one of the men's wives' school. And so it was just really a prized possession. We were given this small military award. Okay, I'm going to just tell you that when I came back for a couple of days, I made the joke that people need to refer to me as Colonel. That's not so. I don't wear it often, just maybe something like this. But it was awarded by a commander from the front lines for military patriotic service and social work. And as a member of the Society of Friends or Quakers, I really appreciate that the award said social work.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah.
So I wear this with pride when I do. So, a wonderful gift And they also gave me a daducha. It's the wheat stalk.
Oh,
The
the wheat,
beautiful,
yeah.
the wheat thing, but I've given this to a Quaker friend in Philadelphia
Oh, nice.
who I had a meeting with in Kyiv in January. She wanted one very much, so I gave her mine.
And this,
Oh yeah, a prized possession. We have friends in a small village 1,000 kilometers from the front lines, and they work at a quarry. Her and her husband Sergei, Irina and Sergei, and they make food for the soldiers in little plastic sealed autoclave bags, and it's dropped off to some of the soldiers who've been stuck in their positions for more than 110 days by drone. And
is that, I'm sorry.
yeah, go on.
Is that with the little bags that Dobro just sent with the little parachutes?
I don't
They
know.
attached to the drone? Because
Yeah.
we helped Dobro to raise funds via craft fairs, and they recently sent little bags that have parachutes, so
You
they
know?
can put food and
Yeah.
medicine inside those bags.
Yeah, I
to
think
get it
that's
to the front line.
That's one method. I was understanding, and I may be misunderstanding, that the small drone actually comes down within hand's reach of the soldier. But what Dobros has done, I would say that's just new information for me.
Okay.
But I'm going to say yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes, I'm going to find out more about
Me-
that.
yeah,
I
me
like
too.
to share ideas with people. So Irina and Sergei's little daughter, her name in English translates to gift, and every time I go to visit them to help with meal preparation for the soldiers or buying a pig for this work, I give her and her little brother a few little gifts or something fun, because I don't like to go empty-handed. They have very modest means. They're living good. And so and she says, "Where is my gift?" And her mother says, "Kenneth doesn't have to bring you a gift every time he comes to the house." And I said, "Yes, I do." And so she brought out of her room this crocheted plane. It's the Maria. It's supposed to be, it was the largest plane in the world, which was Ukrainian, that was destroyed in the opening days of the all-out war. And this was one of this little girl's Christmas gifts. And I'm sure she had a fairly modest Christmas. And she came out and she gave me this, and I really didn't want to take it. And one of my friends said, you really must. If she's giving it to you, you have to take it. I didn't want to take one of her few gifts, but I did, because it was told the best thing to do. And so everywhere I go, I show it off, because it really is quite fantastic.
It is.
And it was a generous gift from a child who probably got a few modest gifts and was, so the last time I was there, I brought her and her little brother books.
Nice.
We went to the bookstore and bought a pile of little books for them to read that will probably make their way around the village.
Oh, that's great.
So,
Yeah.
the Maria.
Those books remind me, though, of how Russia is trying to eliminate those books because of the trying to eliminate Ukrainian culture.
Yeah,
They-
yeah. We've made
So-
contributions to books.
So these are also from young people?
Yeah, they are. It's just two examples of many that I have. Yeah. This is, so we have artwork from younger children. Both of these are connected to two orphanages in the Zakarpathia region that we visited. And the children give us artwork that they've made. And so here we have a very war-themed artwork. A lot of the artwork is related to war or their trauma or experiences they've had of bombing. But there's also happier artwork. This is paint by number, and a teenage girl at one of the far-off orphanages presented this to us. And I think that she didn't have time to finish it. But I like the symbolism of that.
I really like the way it
Yeah.
is just as it is.
I don't think it would be as beautiful if it was finished.
Right.
But she's done a very, very good job.
Very-
And she was very proud to give this to us.
Yeah, it's like the face is like, it's like pretty much finished and forlorn, and the rest is like very impressionistic and
Yeah, it's almost
flowing.
like this Ukrainian has identity,
Yeah.
and they're building more identity, trying to
Yeah.
maintain their identity.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
So what areas of Ukraine do you usually find yourself in?
Well, usually Western Ukraine and Kyiv, places that today are getting bombed. Missiles can reach anywhere in Ukraine within minutes. No place is safe. We have been as far down, right at the Black Sea in Odessa, and we've been there twice. We'd be there more, but it's very difficult to travel in Ukraine right now because everyone's forced to use trains because there's no flying of planes. And finding a spot on a train is at a premium. And so both times we've went to Odessa, our travel plans changed dramatically as our way out of Odessa fell through. And we would have to search out a new means of transport, one time hiring a private driver. But our first trip to Odessa was actually eased by Dobro. Svetlana, she has a wonderful friend, colleague, Alexandra Kovalchuk, director of the
Yes.
Odessa Fine Arts Museum.
Yes, I met her.
I never met Alexandra prior to that, and knowing that we were going to Odessa, Alexandra, behind the scenes, arranged for us to get 2 interpreters and guides for our entire trip to Odessa from the
nice.
English department of the University of Odessa, and then and also arranged for a couple of contacts. And so we suddenly were on the inside track in Odessa, and we had 2 students, one who had just had military training, and I don't know if I should say this because it may not be true, but it also may be true. One night towards the end of our stay, which is extended a few days by having difficulty leaving, and they stayed by our side at all times. I'd send them home and then I'd sneak out on my own. But Joseph got a little bit disconnected from us and we lost him on the street, and the 2 of them did this semicircle around, came up behind him and brought him back into the group. It was almost like it was more than a tour guide should do. Like it was a step above training, like they might be our security as well. So I joked one evening and I said, you know, if you told me that you are our bodyguards, I would believe you. And the young woman, she said to me, oh, yeah. And I says, but you're just our interpreters. She says, yeah, that one. That one,
Yeah,
which
that's-
made me think it was
Yeah,
both.
Maybe, yes.
They really did take really good care. We were, the moment we left on the Flixbus from Odessa, she was with us to the last moment. The bus drove away.
Yeah, because you are quite familiar with what tour operators should be able to do, because you are
Yeah.
a tour guide.
I am a tour guide in Salem, Massachusetts.
Yeah.
I have my own little tour. And I do protect my tour guests and look out for them.
Right.
But
good.
maybe not to the extent
Yeah.
where I'm
Well,
with them 9 or 10
hopefully-
hours a day.
Yeah, hopefully we're not in a war situation at any point here in the
Yeah.
United States. But yeah, that's good to know, because Salem is a pretty neat place to have a tour guide.
Yeah.
New Hampshire, I mean Salem, Mass.
Oh, I love
Yeah.
Salem, Mass, and Salem, New Hampshire is not bad either. You know, I'm recalling that when we were in Odessa, a wonderful person, Juliana, who used to be a TV host. She was part of the community there, spends part of the time in New York, and she brought us to the studio of a New York City / Odessan artist named Mikhail Riva, and he does sculpture. He actually makes sculpture out of shrapnel, and he was commanded. This here, down here, is the blasted part of a building. This building outside of Kyiv that was injured in the first days of the all-out war has been taken down now. And I picked this off the ground. I asked our guide, our friend Tibor, if it was appropriate for me to take it to show people at home so they could physically see something of the destruction. I thought it would bring the point home, and he said that it would not be disrespectful for me to take this. So I took his word on it. But this shows the utter destruction of a building down to the cement and wire walls that are just blasted apart. And the Russians target these buildings. They're not accidental.
So, Kenneth, what was the military reason for targeting this building?
It's very much like my dad experienced in World War II during the Blitz, is to demoralize the civilian population and break their will to resist.
Is that working?
No.
Oh, I was afraid what you were going to answer, even though I know they're very much love their culture and do not want to lose it.
Yeah. But, for example, if the last 3 years you were to come to this interview after 3 years of having your sleep interrupted 5 nights a week between 12 and 4, where you have the choice of going to shelter for those night hours and then also get up the next morning and go to work like you didn't just spend the night in the basement of your building. And then at this point, it makes Ukrainians make a choice. Do I go to shelter and my next day is destroyed energetically, or do I just stay in my apartment and stay between 2 solid walls and hope that is enough to protect me from a Shahed drone that has enough explosive material in it, if it was separated into equal parts, to destroy 2,000 cars. Or a missile that, if that explosive material was separated into separate equal parts, enough to destroy 20,000 cars. And you're now on a mattress between 2 solid walls, hoping to survive the night.
That's a very tough visual. And our time's really come to an end for this show. We will be producing another show. And I think on the next show I want to talk about your experience in Kyiv when you went there last. But yeah, I think we will close this one out for today. And I want to thank you so much for letting us know about the children and how they are so resilient and doing the best they can in a bad situation.
If you permit me, Slava Ukraini.
Heroam Slava, which means glory to Ukraine and glory to the heroes. Yeah. Yes.
So we hope we can convince you to come back and do one more show with us.
I'll see.
Thank you.